Where is Smash 6? This is a question many people have been wondering for a little while now, as we're approaching 7 years since the release of Smash Ultimate, marking the longest time between Smash games to date. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little different, and I'm going to go over what I think the future Smash will look like based on its history, along with my expectations, wants, and so on. So first off, as I've mentioned, it's been the longest between a Smash game ever. Historically, we've had 3 to 6 years between games, and we have had a new Smash on every mainline console. Sakurai himself gives a better explanation about all this in his video series, so I don't need to go into detail there, but if we're focused on Smash Ultimate, we have an interesting situation. This is the first time a new Smash game has just seemed not 100% guaranteed. Before, there was always a decent amount of improvements to be made, but it is quite consensus that Ultimate is, well, the ultimate edition, especially taking into account that we have all the characters. So of course, that is why people have been wondering, well, where can we go from here? Personally, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of potential. I feel like game modes in Ultimate were a bit underwhelming. World of Light didn't really entice me that much, and I played a bit of it, but I never actually went through all of it for myself. I'm glad they added Home Run Contest after a couple years, but I just feel like there's so much more they could do. Just some sort of target test would be amazing, any sort of adventure mode, and now with the new hardware capabilities, the sky is the limit. Personally, I would love to see them go the Mario Kart World route and add some huge maps with 16-player battles or something, like almost like a battle royale mode. A small indie developer made something like this, and it's pretty cool, but obviously it doesn't have the reach or 3D development of a multi-billion-dollar company like Nintendo. Now, of course, I'm sure it'll take an overwhelming amount of effort and money to make a more expensive Smash like this, but Nintendo has been absolutely crushing it. They have the resources to make these improvements. This leads me to the last few years. Sakurai has of course been working on Kirby Air Riders since April 2022, which means this game has been in development for over 3 years at this point. What's interesting is that Smash Ultimate took 3 years from when Sakurai gave the proposal for it. Now, unless Kirby Air Riders is some insane, super huge, in-depth game, that leads me to believe Sakurai may have started something Smash related. Whether as main director or just helping with a slightly smaller role, I'm not sure. But of course, we recently got this rumor about Sakurai using Air Riders as negotiation for a new Smash, which I've already heard is actually quite likely based on the source, and I agree, I think this is likely, and since Air Riders is coming out soon, he might be working on Smash now in some capacity. With this theory, I think it's fair to expect a new Smash by 2027, 2028 at the latest. I'm not a big Smash Ultimate Deluxe believer or a fan of that idea, but if it bridges the time from now to a new Smash, then that would be fine, I guess. But in my opinion, this is what I think they should do to balance their business side and consumer happiness. If getting rights for characters is an issue or super expensive and just not worth it or something, they should focus on a smaller first-party roster with new moves. Like, we have so much potential for sick new movesets for DK, Samus, Mario, which all should have had more moves a long time ago. We need like Waluigi and other Mario characters, that's what I think. Now, this might be a controversial opinion, but hear me out. They should start with a small roster and then do more DLC later for a longer time into the future. Yes, this is something FGC gamers hate, paying $20 or $30 for a new season pass for 5 more characters every few months. But when it comes to Nintendo, I would happily consistently pay more money for more characters for Smash. They can work on getting rights and deals over a longer time frame, make up for that money from a business perspective, while also making players happy providing more third-party characters. Smash just needs more long-term support. A big hope of mine is that Sakurai, God bless that man, is able to pass on the torch using his YouTube channel as a development backbone to someone new and passionate about the series. Now, let's talk about characters. So, as I mentioned earlier, I think they should have a smaller roster of more first-party characters. But if we're just talking about what I would personally like, well, honestly, I really like this silly fake 4chan leak from a while ago. This is the first quote-unquote leak, which is almost like 100% fake. But Soul Bad Guy, I would be so happy, dude. That would be sick. These redesigns would be really nice too, though. New Ganon, Link, Samus, all previous characters. But yeah, we all know this shit ain't happening. Other than that, I'm a huge Tales of fan. I would love Lloyd or Alphen from the Tales of series. I think more Sonic characters are way overdue as well. We need either Shadow, Tails, or Knuckles. That's an obvious one. I would also love to see something like Ichiban or Goro from Yakuza. Also, with the rumor of Halo Master Chief Collection coming to Switch 2, Master Chief is a huge classic video game legend. He needs to be in Smash. Also, this might make some people mad, but we got way too many Pokemon characters. We need to scale that back. Go play Pokken or something. No, I'm half kidding, but look, I'll make a deal with the Pokemon fans. I'm a Fire Emblem fan. I'd agree to cut some Fire Emblem characters if we cut some Pokemon characters in exchange for more third-party characters. Anyways, in conclusion, it's extremely unlikely to not get a Smash game at some point. The size of it, the game modes, the characters are all up for speculation, but the fact that the Switch 2 is so much more powerful than the Switch 1 makes me hopeful. Like, there's a thing Sakurai said where they only had 12 gigabytes to work with for Smash Ultimate, so imagine what they can do with the new cartridges or even just do a download-only release. There is so much potential for this game. I just really hope they take advantage of it. Now, I have an absolutely schizo theory, and it's absolutely, probably for sure, not going to be the case, but after we had the Kirby Air Riders Direct, people noticed there was a section or game mode or something missing from the tutorial, along with the fact that Sakurai said there's still a lot to show off. But what if, and this probably is just too ridiculous, but what if there's a Smash mode in this game? Now hear me out. They already have all the character models. They can probably just change a couple stages to have a platform for fighting on. The characters just need some basic movesets, and boom, you have Smash 6, aka Super Kirby Bros. And this could even be the gap between Smash Ultimate and the next game, if it comes out in like 2 or 3 years or something. What do you guys think? Would that be just stupid, or would it be pretty cool? I think it'd be pretty neat. You know, you'd have a lot of new, cool, unique characters and stuff, and could even be like a stadium minigame like you showed off. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Nintendo's just been pretty weird recently. Lots of people were pretty disappointed with the last Nintendo Direct. We didn't really get what people were generally hoping for. And, you know, there's going to be that new Nintendo of America CEO, which obviously is not going to change anything Smash related. But, I mean, it's a change. But as I've been harping on, it would be such a shame to just not have any sort of new Smash on the Switch 2. With all the new games and character updates a lot of the first-party characters are getting, that would be just the worst to not see that reflected in a Smash Bros. Game. Either way, it's extremely unlikely that they just completely abandon Smash Bros. Nintendo will find a way with or without Sakurai. It just wouldn't make sense to not have it. In one of Sakurai's older YouTube videos about 2 years ago, he said himself we will likely see a new one, although there were asterisks saying opinion as of recording this video in 2023, which we know the videos weren't even recorded in 2023, they're recorded between late 2021 and early 2022, so that's not even relevant now, but I don't even know, man. I just hope we get Smash, and somewhat soon. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're a regular Eat Smasher, let me know if you like this sort of thing and if it's something you'd want to see more of. I've been trying to think of what else I can do on this channel since Smash Ultimate has gotten kind of, just pretty stale. So expect a bit more variety as time goes on. Definitely Kirby Air Riders later. And I'll see you all in the next one.